So this is just a quick overview. Here's our house, and I built a woodshed next to the house, and I put a wood boiler in the woodshed, and then I ran Thermopex piping from the wood boiler into the house. That's to carry the hot water from the wood boiler into the house. And then I also ran some black plastic pipes to carry hot water from solar panels I hope to put on the roof there, but you could ignore those for now. And I also ran some electrical conduit that carries the power out to run the blower on the boiler. There's the boiler without the woodshed. Alright, so here are all the components of the heating system. The boiler, the thermal tank that takes the heat from the wood boiler, the header that distributes the heat to the radiators, those are in red, and the propane boiler. And so what I'm going to do is we're going to look at these from the other side, and I'm going to describe how they each works. There's the wood boiler with the Thermopex, which brings the heated water from the boiler into this big thermal tank, which is a 1,000-gallon wooden tank that's lined with 4 inches of rigid foam and has a rubber liner. It's a rubber roofing liner, 45 mil EPDM rubber roofing. Inside the thermal tank I made 2 copper heat exchangers. One on the bottom, which is what puts the heat into the tank, and then one on the top, which is what will take the heat out of the tank and distribute it to the house. These are just loops of copper. I'll go into them more in the video about making them, but they're just loops of 3/4 inch copper pipe. There are some PEX pipes that take the heat from the Thermopex and bring it into the copper heat exchangers, and then some more PEX pipe that take it from the top heat exchanger and bring it out to the header, which is what distributes the heat out to the rest of the house. That happens through a system of radiators. I'm only going to show one radiator here because my drawing skills are so terrible, but PEX pipe goes out from the header and it goes out to a radiator and then distributes its heat through the radiator, and then the water returns to the other end of the header through some more PEX pipe. And I put in a propane boiler as a backup system and connected that propane boiler to the header with some piping. And then the question is, how do you move all this heat around, all this hot water? And for that there are circulators. So you can see a circulator there, little green circulator I drew above the wood boiler. That pushes water from the boiler through the loop that comes into the heat exchanger, around the heat exchanger, and back to the boiler. Another circulator to circulate the heat from the top heat exchanger into the header. And then I needed another circulator for each zone. So I've only drawn one zone here, but you can see that circulator there that distributes it to that radiator. That pushes it from one end of the header through the radiator and back to the other end of the header. And then of course I need a circulator also on the propane boiler. So in total there's 8 circulators in this system, although I've only drawn 4 here because there's 4 more on the other zones that I didn't bother to draw.